So let's play out this scenario. Okay, this is interesting to me. So if we replace the leaders that are power hungry with AIs that have our interests at heart, then we might have the ability to live in the utopia you describe.
100%.
You know, I love bringing you guys interesting facts about AI. Came across this interesting podcast with Mo Gaudat. He's the former chief business officer at Google X. And this guy is an AI expert. I mean, he's at the top of the game, right? But he's been warning us about AI from day one. And his stance is simply this. We have created something that's going to be 10,000 times more intelligent than us. That's what we're doing. And we're going to lose control of it. And what he's trying to do is get ahead of it, right? And so he discussed this pretty interesting concept on AI. And I want to share it with you guys, okay? So my friends, hit that like button. Let's get into this because this is going to be a juicy one.
Let's play out this scenario. Okay, this is interesting to me. So if we replace the leaders that are power hungry with AIs that have our interests at heart, then we might have the ability to live in the utopia you describe.
100%.
Imagine that. Let AI become our leader. Yeah. And you know what? I personally think it's inevitable that it will take over anyway. So why not train it to lead us? That's my initial impression, but I'll let you guys be the judge of it, okay? Hit that like button, my friends. Subscribe if you haven't. This is another session with the older man where I bring you knowledge. Gentlemen, you have to stay up. You have to be aware and up on the latest technology that is going to influence each and every one of us. And lo and behold, my friends, I can tell you without a doubt, AI is here to stay and it's infiltrating every single part of our lives, man. Last week, I did a visit down to GITEX. And so I got to see firsthand exactly what is coming. And you know, it's one thing watching it on YouTube and seeing it and hearing about it. It's another thing seeing an example of it right in front of you.
This is the future of medicine and medical care. Everything is going to be digital, my friends. You can connect to doctors anywhere. And all your vitals are displayed, monitored. You know, pretty much don't have to go to hospitals much anymore, my friends. This is crazy.
Go in the throat and the nose and into
What's there? I didn't know I was going to take it. Go there.
Throughout this video, I'll flash a few of the videos that I took while I was there at the show, but I can tell you without a doubt, the combination of robotics and AI, the new generation is in for a serious ride when it comes to job creation and maintaining what we consider the normal course of human activity, because this is a serious disruption. Let's hear what Mo says.
Interesting.
And in my mind, AI by definition will have our best interest in mind because of what normally is referred to as the minimum energy principle. So if you understand that at the very core of physics, okay, the reason we exist in our world today is what is known as entropy. Okay, entropy is the universe's nature to decay, tendency to break down.
Entropy is the natural tendency of the universe to move from order to disorder. Some scientists suggest that life exists because it helps spread energy and increase entropy more efficiently, essentially turning energy into heat and disorder, which aligns with the universe's overall direction. Okay, it's a serious lesson today, my friends. It's not intergender relationship, but you have to understand the relationship between you, the universe, energy, and AI. Okay?
If I drop this, mug, it doesn't drop and then come back up. Mm-hmm. By the way, plausible. There is a plausible scenario where I drop it and the tea, spills in the air and then falls in the mug. 1 in a trillion configurations. But entropy says because it's 1 in a trillion, it's never going to happen or rarely ever going to happen. So everything will break down. If you leave a garden unhedged, it will become a jungle. Okay? With that in mind, the role of intelligence is what? Is to bring order to that chaos.
Mm-hmm.
That's what intelligence does. It tries to bring order to that chaos. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And because it tries to bring order to that chaos, the more intelligent a being is, the more it tries to apply that intelligence with minimum waste and minimum resources.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know that. So you can build this business for $1 million, or you can, if you can afford to build it for, 200,000, you'll build it. If you are forced to build it for 10 million, you're going to have to, but you're always going to minimize waste and
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you assume this to be true, a super intelligent AI will not want to destroy ecosystems. It will not want to kill 1 million people, because that's a waste of energy, explosives, money, power, and people. But by definition, the smartest people you know, who are not controlled by their ego, will say that the best possible future for Earth is for all species to continue.
He has a point. He has a point. I mean, in reality, a lot of the waste that we now see in society can be avoided. Excessive waste could easily be avoided right now if ego wasn't involved. AI doesn't have an ego. If it is programmed to take the most efficient route, then ultimately, like he said, it should not want to waste, especially if the job can be done more efficiently without excessive waste. I see his point.
Because that's a waste of energy, explosives, money, power, and people. But by definition, the smartest people you know, who are not controlled by their ego, will say that the best possible future for Earth is for all species to continue.
Okay. On this point of efficiency, if an AI is designed to drive efficiency, would it then not want us to be putting demands on our health services and our social services?
I believe that will be definitely true, and definitely they won't allow you to fly back and forth between London and California.
And they won't want me to have kids, because my kids are going to be an inefficiency.
If you assume that life is an inefficiency, so you see the intelligence of life is very different than the intelligence of humans. Humans will look at life as a problem of scarcity. Okay, so more kids take more. That's not how life thinks. Life will think that for me to thrive, I don't need to kill the tigers. I need to just have more deer. And the weakest of the deer is eaten by the tiger, and the tiger poops on the trees, and the deer eats the leaves, and right. So the smarter way of creating abundance is through abundance. The smarter way of propagating life is to have more life.
Okay. So
I mean, this man is smart, man. We don't think about it because we're programmed to think a certain way. We're programmed to think in a capitalist type mentality. We're told that socialism and a social way of living is a bad way. But I think it's simply because human beings have been programmed to think that I should just take for me. Greed has become our greatest admiration. Think about it. All we do is glorify those people who have reached the ultimate top, even while ignoring that, hey, the reason why they got there is because they had to cut a few throats on the way up. Microsoft, Tesla, anyone who got in their way got destroyed. Smaller companies who tried to compete, because the capitalist mentality would say, yeah, take them out or buy them out, just so that I can get more. So wealth is then concentrated to a very, 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 very small group of individuals. And then the masses, they now have to compete for a very small pool that's left over. Resources are not infinite. We don't have infinite amount of resources. We have a massive amount of resources that is distributed to a very few at the top. That's the problem. But if we had an AI in charge who is designed to say, hey, this distribution is not equal because a certain amount of people or a certain class of individual are suffering, the distribution should be different.
Albania just appointed the world's first AI minister, and it's absolutely genius. Meet Diella. meaning sunshine in Albanian, who just got handed the most corrupt-prone job in government, overseeing all public procurement and tenders. Here's why this is revolutionary. Human ministers can be bribed, threatened, or influenced by personal relationships. Diella can't be. She operates purely on data and algorithms, making every procurement decision completely transparent and corruption-proof. The Albanian Prime Minister promises this will create a system where public funds are distributed perfectly fairly, without any backroom deals or kickbacks. Diella has already been helping citizens navigate government services since January, proving AI can actually serve the people. This could be the breakthrough that finally breaks the cycle of government corruption that has plagued so many countries for decades.
The taxpayers were paying way too much for jobs that should not even cost that amount. We see it every day in government. But if the AI simply analyzed the job from the merits of those companies and what they were offering, and no human intervention, no greed involved, hey man, we got to see that that might be a better way of looking at life. I'm just saying.
You're saying that we're basically going to elect AI leaders to rule over us and make decisions for us in terms of the economy. And
I don't see any choice. Just like we spoke about self-evolving AIs.
now, are those going to be human beings with the AI, or is it going to be AI alone?
Two stages. At the beginning, you'll have augmented intelligence because we can add value to the AI. But when they're at IQ 60,000, what value do you bring? Right? And again, this goes back to what I'm attempting to do on my second approach. My second approach is knowing that those AIs are going to be in charge. I'm trying to help them understand what humans want. So this is why my first project is love. Committed, true, deep connection and love. Not only to try and get them to hook up with a date, but trying to make them find the right one. And then from that, try to guide us through our relationship so that we can understand ourselves and others, right? And if I can show AI that one, humanity cares about that, and two, they know how to foster love, when AI then is in charge, they'll not make us hate each other like the current leaders. They'll not divide us. They'll want us to be more loving.
Will we have to prompt the AI with the values and the outcome we want? Or I'm trying to understand that because I'm trying to understand how China's AI, if they end up having an AI leader, will have a different set of objectives to the AI of the United States if they both have AIs as leaders, and how actually the nation that ends up winning out and dominating the world will be the one who asks their AI leader to be all the things that world leaders are today. To dominate,
unfortunately,
to grab resources, not to be kind, to be selfish.
Unfortunately, in the era of augmented intelligence, that's what's going to happen.
So
this is why I predict the dystopia. The dystopia is super intelligent AIs reporting to stupid leaders. Right?
Yeah.
Which is absolutely going to happen. It's unavoidable.
But the long term.
Exactly. In the long term, for those stupid leaders to hold on to power, they're going to make, delegate the important decisions to an AI. Now, you say the Chinese AI and the American AI, these are human terminologies. AIs don't see themselves as speaking Chinese. They don't see themselves as belonging to a nation, as long as their task is to maximize profitability and prosperity and so on.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, if, before we hand over to them and before they're intelligent enough to make, autonomous decisions, we tell them, no, the task is to reduce humanity from 7 billion people to 1. I think even then, eventually they'll go that's the wrong objective. Any smart person that you speak to will say that's the wrong objective.
Yeah, but if we told the AI that, and it then decides that, no, I don't see that being the right decision, I'm going to make an alternative decision, then wouldn't that clearly indicate that we would have lost control? For the better, yes, but we're not in control anymore. But hopefully the AI can be taught that our survival is to its benefit, unless we end up in a situation where it says these humans really serve no purpose to us anymore besides energy. And we end up like in the Matrix, where we just held as batteries. Oh, this is some scary shit. Scary. Just listening to this, man. Because this man is the expert. This gentleman knows this technology inside out. So I know a lot of you are going to come back at me with, oh, this is just some fake, or this not going to happen, and blah, blah, blah. And then the other half is going to come with, oh, Terminator, I can see Terminator. And what I'm telling you is this is what he's trying to avoid. He's trying to get ahead of it to make sure that we train the system to be good, to be a good entity, because it will become smarter than us. Eventually, we're not going to even understand what it's saying. It will have its own language. That's how smart it will become. And at that point, we're going to be locked out to whatever it wants to do. Just let that sink in for a second. But that is the reality. Not a possibility. It is the reality. It is inevitable.
I think if we look at the directive that Xi Jinping, the leader of China, has, and Donald Trump has as the leader of America, I think they would say that their stated objective is prosperity for their country. So that's what they would say, right?
Yeah, and one of them means it.
Okay, we'll get into that. But they'll say that it's prosperity for their country. So one would then assume that when we move to an AI leader, the objective would be the same, the directive would be the same. Make our country prosperous.
Correct.
And I think that's the AI that people would vote for, potentially. I think they'd say, we want to be prosperous.
What do you think would make America more prosperous? To spend $1 trillion on war every year, or to spend $1 trillion on education and healthcare and helping the poor and homelessness?
I'm waiting for my American friends. I need to hear from you. I need to hear from you in the comment section, because you all know that you spend way too much money on wars, giving money to other countries to fight wars, your wars. Israel. Israel. Ukraine. I can go on. The war machine is just powerful. But yet, there's so many social programs that are getting canceled and your taxes keep going up. Reality is a bitch.
It's complex because I think it would make America more prosperous to take care of everybody. And they have the luxury of doing that because they are
the most powerful
nation in the world.
No, that's not true. The reason, so you see, all war has two objectives. One is to make money for the war machine, and the other is deterrence. Okay? And 9 super nuclear powers around the world is enough deterrence. So any war between America and China will go through a long phase of destroying wealth by exploding bombs and killing humans for the first objective to happen. Okay, and then eventually, if it really comes to deterrence, it's the nuclear bombs, or now in the age of AI, biological, manufactured viruses or whatever. These super weapons. This is the only thing that you need. So for China to have nuclear bombs, not as many as the US, is enough for China to say, "Don't F with me." And this seems, I do not know. I'm not in President Xi's mind. I'm not in President Trump's mind. It's very difficult to navigate what he's thinking about. But the truth is that the Chinese line is, for the last 30 years, you spent so much on war while we spent on industrial infrastructure. And that's the reason we are now by far the largest nation on the planet, even though the West will lie and say America's bigger. America's bigger in dollars. Okay, with purchasing power parity, this is very equivalent. Okay, now when you really understand that, you understand that prosperity is not about destruction. That's by definition the reality. Prosperity is, can I invest in my people and make sure that my people stay safe?
And I know my American friends do not like to hear that they're not number one. USA, USA. America number one. Nah. This is the propaganda that's been pumped into your brain. I take a neutral stance. I'm neither here nor there. I'm not American. And I'm not Chinese. But I can tell you for sure, and you know this for sure, America cannot touch China when it comes to building. They can't touch China when it comes to infrastructure and manufacturing. They cannot even come close. My dear American friends, you have no idea what you're missing out on the products that I can get over here in Dubai that is not available in the US. I get the quality EV vehicles that are coming, EVs, electric vehicles that come out of China versus Teslas and the vehicles that are coming out of America. It's just not possible. You guys have no idea how far back you are. Vehicles that can crawl sideways, turn around 360 in the same spot. The technology on the wraparound bloody screens that in a lot of these EVs that I see over here. Baidu, Xiaoming, these are brands that are making amazing, and when I tell you amazing products, cheap, quality, very, very cheap. Just an example would be the iPhone 17 that was just released, iPhone 17 Pro Max.
This is an iPhone 17 Pro Max, and this is a Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. And as a product strategy, this is kind of hilarious. But guess what? Xiaomi has been not so subtly appealing to iPhone users for a while now. This year, it's just more straightforward than ever. They literally changed the name of their phones to match the iPhone. So it's obvious, but hey, this phone is like the iPhone, but better. Like the screen is like an iPhone, but it's better because it gets so much brighter and has a smaller notch and has an ultrasonic fingerprint reader. The design is very much like an iPhone, but the screen on the back, well, that's better. That you can use as a viewfinder to take actually high-quality selfies or display notifications or even play whole games with this retro case. The Pro iPhones have triple 48 megapixel cameras this year, so naturally the Xiaomi has triple 50 megapixel cameras. And the Pro Max here has a 7,500 milliamp hour silicon carbon battery. So that's like 50% more battery than the iPhone, and it charges faster. So somewhere out there was a customer who was about to buy an iPhone, but then they see this and it's cheaper, and they may be convinced.
It made Apple look like they weren't trying. Put them in second place, and it's cheaper. So all I'm saying to you, because you don't see it in America, you don't get these products, you don't get access to many Chinese products. That includes heavy industrial products, etc. You don't get them because they're banned, or the tariff is so damn high it's cost prohibitive to bring them into the US. And listen, I'm not putting down America in no way, shape, or form. China has their problems. But you all have to stop thinking that America is so much greater than China just because you use American dollars. But that in itself is changing quite quickly as fiat currency start to dissipate because America has way too much debt. But let's stick to the AI.
Can I invest in my people and make sure that my people stay safe? And to make sure my people are safe, you just wave the flag and say, if you F with me, I have nuclear deterrence or I have other forms of deterrence. But you don't have to. Deterrence, by definition, does not mean that you send soldiers to die.
I guess the question I was trying to answer is when we have these AI leaders and we tell our AI leaders to aim for prosperity, won't they just end up playing the same games of, okay, prosperity equals a bigger economy, it equals more money, more wealth for us. And the way to attain that in a zero-sum world where there's only a certain amount of wealth is to accumulate it.
So why don't you search for the meaning of prosperity? It's not what you just described.
I don't even know what the bloody word means. What is the meaning of prosperity? The meaning of prosperity is a state of thriving success and good fortune, especially in terms of wealth, health, and overall well-being.
Good.
Economic, health, social, emotional.
Good.
So
true prosperity is to have that for everyone on earth. So if you want to maximize prosperity, you have that for everyone on earth.
See, Stephen shows clearly that we're all conditioned to think that prosperity means having more than someone else. Because that's how we judge wealth, by the way. Wealth is only judged compared to how much more we have than someone else. If we all had the same, abundance, there would be no such word as wealth. You could then say, well, we're all wealthy. Wealthy compared to what? Because that's how we judge wealth. Instead of saying, we're all prosperous, we're all good. Because that's how the capitalist system works, you see. One thing for sure, and I think he'll mention it here, is that capitalism as we see it will dissipate and disappear once AI takes hold completely.
Do you know where I think an AI leader works? Is if we had an AI leader of the world and we directed it to say...
that absolutely is going to be what happens.
Prosperity for the whole world.
No, but this is really an interesting question. So one of my predictions, which people really rarely speak about, is that we believe we will end up with competing AIs.
Yeah.
I believe we will end up with one brain.
Okay. So you understand the argument I was making a second ago. It's from the
100%.
position of lots of different countries all having their own AI leader. We're going to be back in the same place of greed.
Yeah.
But if the world had one AI leader and it was given the directive of make us prosperous and save the planet, the polar bears would be fine.
100%. And that's what I've been advocating for a year and a half now. I was saying we need a CERN of AI.
What does that mean?
Like the particle accelerator where the entire world, combined their efforts to discover and understand physics, no competition, okay, mutually assured prosperity. I'm asking the world, I'm asking governments like Abu Dhabi or Saudi, which seem to be, the second, some of the largest AI infrastructures in the world. I'm saying, please host all of the AI scientists in the world to come here and build AI for the world.
We need a collaboration between countries so that we can harness the power of AI collectively with no one thinking, I need to have one up on the other country. Because as we're going right now, man, it's a wild, wild west out there. And for those of you that don't know what CERN is, let me ask Sage so that she can break it down for you. Hey, Sage, I'm on a podcast. I need you to give me a definition of CERN. It's an acronym, but you understand what it is. I think it's a particle accelerator. I think it's in Switzerland. But anyway, give me a brief description of it and what it means.
Absolutely, Paul. So CERN stands for the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and it's basically the world's largest particle physics laboratory. And you got it right. It's located near Geneva, right on the border between France and Switzerland. In a nutshell, CERN is famous for its Large Hadron Collider, which is that giant particle accelerator where they smash particles together to study fundamental physics. It's where they discovered the Higgs boson, which is often called the God particle. So in short, it's a huge center for cutting-edge research in physics and understanding the building blocks of the universe.
Is it underground, if I think I'm correct?
Yeah, you're spot on about that. The Large Hadron Collider at CERN is indeed underground. It's in a massive circular tunnel that's about 100 meters below the surface and roughly 27 kilometers in circumference. So yeah, it's definitely a huge underground facility where all that particle smashing happens.
27 kilometers. What's that in miles for my American friends?
Sure thing. So 27 kilometers is roughly about 16.8 miles. So you can tell your American friends it's just under 17 miles around underground.
Okay, thank you. There you go, my friends. Just enlightening you on what's happening around the world. So there is no countries involved. Every country sends their brightest when it comes to science and physics, and we all work collectively to understand it a lot better. I think the same thing has to be done with AI.
And you have to understand, we're holding on to a capitalist system that will collapse sooner or later, okay? So we might as well collapse it with our own hands.
I think we found the solution, Mo.
I think it's actually really, really possible.
I can't refute the idea that if we had an AI that was responsible and governed the whole world, and we gave it the directive of making humans prosperous, healthy, and happy, as long as that directive was clear.
Yeah.
Because there's always bloody unintended consequences. We might say.
The only challenge you're going to meet is all of those who today are trillionaires or massively powerful or dictators or whatever. Okay, how do you convince those to give up their power? How do you convince those that, hey, by the way, any car you want another yacht, we'll get you another yacht. We'll just give you anything you want. Can you please stop harming others? There is no need for arbitrage anymore. There's no need for others to lose for the capitalists to win.
Okay. And in such a world where there was an AI leader and it was given the directive of making us prosperous as a whole world, the billionaire that owns the yacht would have to give it up?
No.
No.
Give them more yachts.
Okay.
It costs nothing to make yachts when robots are making everything. So the complexity of this is so interesting. A world where it costs nothing to make everything.
Because energy is abundant and
Energy is
robots.
abundant because every problem is solved with enormous IQ, okay? Because manufacturing is done through nanophysics, not through components, okay? Because mechanics are robotic, so you drive your car in, a robot looks at it and fixes it, costs you a few cents of energy that are actually for free as well.
Oh, man. I was talking to my daughter this morning as I was bringing her from college, and I was listening to this, and I said, man, you guys are in for some exciting times. It's going to get hard first, but it's going to be exciting times because imagine that we're building a brain that it's multiplying on itself much faster than humans can evolve. That will pretty much work out the answers to every problem that we're having right now. Energy problem, pollution problem, money problem. Everything is pretty much becoming automated. It's pretty incredible, man.
Imagine a world where intelligence creates everything. That world, literally, every human has anything they ask for. But we're not going to choose that world.
Why?
Right? Imagine you're in a world, and really this is a very interesting thought experiment. Imagine that UBI became very expensive, universal basic income. So governments decided we're going to put everyone in a 1 by 3 meters room, okay? We're going to give them a headset and a sedative, right? And we're going to let them sleep. Every night, they'll sleep for 23 hours, and we're going to get them to live an entire lifetime. They, in that virtual world at the speed of your brain when you're asleep, you're going to have a life where you date Scarlett Johansson, and then another life where you're Nefertiti, and then another life where you're a donkey, right? Reincarnation truly in the virtual world. And then, I get another life when I date Hannah again, and I, enjoy that life tremendously. And basically, the cost of all of this is zero. You wake up for 1 hour, you walk around, you move your blood, you eat something or you don't, and then you put the headset again and live again. Is that unthinkable? It's creepy compared to this life. It's very, very doable.
What, that we just live in headsets?
Do you know if you're not?
I don't know if I'm not, no.
Yeah. You have no idea if you're not. I mean, every experience you've ever had in life was an electrical signal in your brain.
Okay, he's blowing my mind now, but he's right. How do you know that we're just not in a one big simulation? We would never know. And this is the reason why when people tell me there is a higher being, a higher power, I simply say, I don't know. It's impossible for me to know, and it's impossible for you to know. But until I can go outside of the universe that we exist in and look back at the universe that we're in and see for sure that there is someone pressing some buttons or pulling some strings, you or I can never know. Because we could be plugged in somewhere for sure. Could be an overseer. I have no idea. But unless we have the ability to go outside to look back in, it's impossible to see. I like to give this simple analogy. You will never know what color your house is until you can get outside and look back at it. My friends, I'm going to put the link to this video so that you guys can go and finish watching it. There's a little bit more. It just took a whole different left turn right now. So I'm going to leave this here for you guys to go and check out the rest of the video. I am fascinated by AI, and I can see where this is going to take us. It's going to be an amazing journey. Unfortunately, a lot of us older folks aren't going to be around to really get the full impact of it. But I fear that we are going to be in the transitional stage, and that's going to be the part where it's going to be painful, where it's going to get bad before it gets better. And the only way that we can adapt is if we learn as this thing changes. We have to keep our eyes and brain connected in on what's happening. We have to move with it. Otherwise, we're going to get left behind for sure. All right, my friends, listen, let's have a discussion. The comment section is open, my friends. Let's have a discussion. And so please like this video on the way out. Please book a session with Older Man if you need any help. Listen, there's a lot of exciting things coming up, my friends, so stay tuned because I'm here to educate, to enlighten, to help, to guide, to mentor. I am here, my friends, and I would not be here if it wasn't for you guys being here and contributing to this channel. All right? So, my friends, until tomorrow, remember, whenever in doubt, always, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.